New York City's in the dark tonight, and so are millions of people across the northeastern U.S. and Canada. Full coverage of the blackout coming up in seconds on 69 News at 10. While there's no blackout gridlock in the Lehigh Valley, the effects are being felt here by bus travelers and others. A live report coming up. Local emergency officials are keeping an eye on things in case there are power problems in the Lehigh Valley. Those stories plus a man starts work on a blighted downtown theater. He says he owns it. The city of Allentown says, no, you don't. Good evening, I'm Rob Vaughn. 69 News at 10 starts now.
Your life, your world, your news. This is 69 News at 10.
The northeastern U.S. unusually dark tonight. A massive blackout spreads across a number of major cities in the northeastern U.S. and in Canada as well. New York City, the largest city affected. It's a huge blackout. Let's get the very latest live now from correspondent Peter Viles.
Now, this massive power outage created what has got to be the longest and slowest rush hour in the history of New York City. The streets of New York this afternoon and early this evening, a sea of humanity, just huge numbers of people. If you've ever seen the New York City Marathon, that's what it looked like. Thousands of people trying to make their way home. Bear in mind, most people who work in Manhattan don't live there, and they don't walk to work. They take subways, buses. All of that out of the question today. Thousands of people walking. I spoke to one man coming from Wall Street. He had been walking for 2.5 hours to get to Queens, and he had another 2.5 hours ahead of him. As New Yorkers were making their way home, the president was speaking to the nation tonight. Here's what the president had to say.
Millions of people's lives are affected. I fully understand that their lives will not be normal for the short run, and hope that they continue to cope with this in a manner that they have done so far.
The president talked just then about things that will not be normal for a while. If you look behind me, this is something you've never seen before in New York. Behind me is the greatest skyline in the world, almost completely dark. The Empire State Building is behind me. The United Nations is behind me. You can't see them. The only lights, as far as we can tell, are emergency generators and hospitals. Power not yet restored, as far as we can tell, in any significant portion of Manhattan. Reporting live from Queens, New York, Peter Viles. Now back to you.
All right, Peter, thanks very much. A day New Yorkers will never forget, that's for sure. WFMZ's Victor Martinez is in New York City right now. He is joining us now on the phone with more on what it's like in New York. And Victor, I guess it's a pretty dark place where you are.
Definitely, Rob. I am right now in Manhattan in 9th Avenue between 15th and 16th Street, and it is literally pitch black right now. We still have a few hundred people, if not thousands, walking the streets. One of the major problems that we have seen so far is that some people are not able to walk back to their houses, and city transportation is not working right now, and they're pretty much just complaining because they do see buses passing by, but all of them say not in service. So that's one of the big problems right now that New Yorkers are feeling in the streets of Manhattan.
Have you seen any trouble? Any trouble, people looting or people doing things they shouldn't, or are people taking it pretty much in stride even though they don't have transportation?
No, people are very calm. They are complaining, but no looting, no signs of any kind of vandalism or any kind of rowdiness on the street. Everything looks pretty calm. There's a lot of show of force in the streets, meaning there's a lot of police officers, a lot of marked and unmarked vehicles with their emergency lights on, and that's pretty much all you can see in the city, just emergency lights, because, again, everything is just pitch black right now.
I don't know if you had a chance to talk to people earlier, but earlier in the day, of course, the first thoughts a lot of people had were back to 9/11. Were people chatting about terrorism and so forth?
Yeah, definitely. I had the chance to talk to a few people, and if you remember those early images that we got early in the afternoon where you saw the bridges just full of people, the few people that I have talked to in the streets, they have told me that, yes, at first they thought that it was a terrorism related, because, again, a lot of people have never seen this before in their life, especially a city like New York. So that's why a lot of people just took up to the street and decided just to take a walk and run, pretty much.
Mm-hmm. All right, Victor, you take it easy there, and I know we'll talk to you again in the next half hour and at 11 o'clock as well. Thanks very much.
No problem.
All right, WFMZ's Victor Martinez. In New Jersey, much of the same story in northeastern New Jersey. Parts of the state still in the dark tonight. Emergency crews are scattered all across New Jersey to try to bring the power back. WFMZ's Carl Madonna is live in Warren County, New Jersey, with that part of the story. Carl?
Good evening, Rob. Governor McGreevey has declared a state of emergency here in New Jersey. What that means for these folks, they're being asked to limit their phone uses and conserve power as much as possible. About 1 million people, we're told, are still in the dark. There was talk earlier today to shut down some of the major roadways here in New Jersey. That has not happened. Tolls, however, have been suspended. Now, county control says power will be sporadic throughout the state. You could lose power essentially at any moment. The state of emergency also puts thousands of fire and EMS crews on standby. Now, at the Warren County 911 Center, several mobile generators are also on standby. Crews there say at any moment these generators could be headed up north to out. Places still without power include Messiah, Hudson, and Morris County is completely without power. Locally, Alamuki, Hackettstown, Greenwich, and parts of Washington Township are also without power. Crews say they are not sure if the lightning strike in Canada caused all this, but it's certainly creating some headaches. County control says power will be sporadic throughout the state. You could again lose power at any moment. The National Guard has been mobilized around the state. Police say they need the extra help as darkness falls to ensure the security in homes still without power.
We have all of our police on standby. They all know what's going on. We have our emergency management working downstairs to try and assist with any calls. And I know the police are on standby for anything that's going to happen, and they're trying to help.
We're going to probably take a while to get some crews out here to clear up any of those problems because they're obviously committed elsewhere.
The staff of the Warren County 911 Center say as the Mohawk grid, the grid that shut down most of the Northeast tonight, as that's brought back up, it could